A little more than 2 weeks out from the Republican convention in Cleveland. Naturally, a lot of attention is turned to who's going to be attending and who's going to speak from the stage. Apparently, still the case that the home state governor, John Kasich, isn't sure about either of his options. His spokesman told CNN today that Kasich may not step foot in the convention hall. But the chief strategist of Kasich's presidential campaign, John Weaver, sent out a very unusual email today about a new series of swing state polls from something called Ballotpedia that show Kasich doing better in a hypothetical matchup against Clinton in several battleground states than Trump does. We're told by a source close to Kasich that he will be in Cleveland. He'll be doing plenty of events to help candidates besides Trump, but at this point doesn't have any plans to step inside the hall. That could change. We'll see. Meanwhile, Senator Ted Cruz, another vanquished opponent of Trump's, has been even harder to pin down about what he plans in Cleveland. Cruz spokesman told the New York Times there's no expectation that he'll get a speaking slot, though under the current Republican rules, he did win enough states to technically qualify to get his name put in nomination and get to speak. Cruz loyalists may also play a significant role on some of the key committees that draft the party rules and platform a week before the convention begins. We are told by sources close to Cruz that he plans to be in Cleveland not for the entire convention, not clear which day he'll go. He's going to do a lot. He wants to do a lot to hang out with and thank and meet with his own supporters, many of whom are delegates to the convention. So leaving option open there to perhaps extend his stay. John, given all that, what do you think Ted Cruz and John Kasich are currently thinking about best case for them in Cleveland?
Well, I think John Kasich is trying to avoid getting any Donald Trump all over his suit. And I think Ted Cruz is trying to keep his option open in case this dump Trump thing does catch on. He's obviously the most likely next nominee in the party, given that he has the second most delegates and the greatest standing to knock Trump off if that movement emerges among the delegates. Those seem to me to be the games that the two are playing.
Neither of these guys want to hug Donald Trump at this point. Most of their team feels the same way pretty strongly. They also both, at this point, see themselves as potential frontrunners for 2020 if Trump loses. And people sometimes have lost sight of the fact that a lot of what goes on in the convention normally, when there's not talk in the air of disrupting the convention or even overturning the will of the voters, a lot of what goes on is positioning for 4 years down the road. And again, I'd say at this point, you look at the 15 people who ran against Trump, the two who I think have spent the most time thinking about what 2020 might look like against Hillary Clinton are Ted Cruz and John Kasich and the people around them.
For sure. Those Ballotpedia numbers that you mentioned are very strong for Kasich, and our indications are that Kasich intends to do a lot of campaigning for down-ballot Republicans from what he considers a mainstream conservative perspective. If Kasich goes out without any of what he sees as the taint of Trump on him and campaigns successfully for those down-ballot candidates, it will give him, in his mind at least, a boost in the way you're talking about in terms of 2020 for sure.
It's a big sweepstakes that hadn't gotten much attention. If Trump is not in demand for people like Rob Portman, Kelly Ayotte, et cetera, maybe it will be not. Who are the stars? You know, is it George Bush is raising money for him? But who's out on the trail as a big surrogate? Kasich and Cruz, I think, are both looking to do that.